Hey guys, welcome to the Get Creative podcast. I'm your host, Justin Tuminowski. You can find me at realestatejustin.com. Guys, typically you hear me on a quick mini podcast that Pace has graciously allowed me to be on and come to you every week. I actually have the green light to go a little bit different. We're going rogue today. And I have Jesse Vasquez here. Guys, if you know who he is, if you don't know who he is, it's the midterm expert. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm honored. I'm a little nervous, but he's a homie. And if you guys can't see this, he's got a CBGB shirt on. He's got a Santa Cruz hat on. Dude speaks my love language, real estate and vibes. He's a drummer. He's a musician, loves music. And Jesse, bro, thank you for being here. You can just break it open with the audience.
Man, I love that, man. Well, that was a really nice intro. I feel like what are you nervous for, dude? We talk all the time, man. You're not nervous.
I know.
Yeah, well, thanks for the introduction. And yeah, Justin, you're absolutely right. My name is Jesse Vasquez. I've been in the midterm rental game before it was cool. And I kind of stumbled upon it. We can go down that rabbit hole if you want. But I'm glad to be connecting with you, man, because I think that the Subto audience and midterm rentals, short-term rentals, like there's such an opportunity for people right now. In fact, Justin, before you ask me questions, just so everybody that's listening to this right now knows, midterm rentals are 30 days more stay, 30 days or longer. And I just read some statistics yesterday, actually, and Airbnb midterm rentals are growing 6 times faster than the short-term rental industries right now. 6 times faster. We just looked at some Google trends and are seeing that it's really spiking up. So a lot of people right now in the short space are getting into the mid space. So I think right now, if you guys are listening to this and you're not sure about this game yet, ton of information that we're going to give to you. And not only that, but it's just in the next year or so, I think is really the bright time to get in here before everybody else does.
I love that. So, and then let the audience know, I guess, what's the typical exit? I mean, it could be anything, right? We're talking employment. Everyone talks about the traveling nurse. And I know I'm sick of hearing about traveling nurses.
Yeah.
Traveling nurses. But catch us up to speed.
Yeah. Traveling nurses were cool in like 2020, in 2021, 2022, right? When COVID was big. I think that's how midterm rentals got the name midterm rentals. But yeah, there's corporate travelers that travel every day. In fact, if you guys go to invest.gov, which is a website that the government has up, and it's basically, there was $1.2 trillion circulating, Justin, in 2020, end of 2023. There was an infrastructure bill that was passed by the Biden campaign. And that $1.2 trillion is being deployed all over the US. So right now there's all these companies that are going to work on sewer systems, power grids, like all these different things. And guess what? They actually need lodging, they need housing. So I think right now there's a way that everybody that's listening to this can go and you can actually see where these job sites are going to be, how many people are going to be employed, what companies are employing them, both on the federal and the private side of money, which, man, again, this is just such a massive opportunity for people to really start to look at, do I want to grow a midterm rental space? Do I want to be connected to these companies? And we can dive into what that looks like, but there's just a massive opportunity right now. And not just travel nurses. Let's get rid of travel nurses. Corporate travelers, business travelers, remote work's been a thing, right? Since COVID, that's shifted. People are going back to the office, but there's still remote work. And then there's insurance relocation claims. You guys have Tanisha that's in your community, who's a big advocate of this. And it's just such a big space to make a pretty decent amount of cash from one door if you're able to build relationships with the relocation specialists that work at these companies.
Damn, do you guys think he's an expert or what? I mean, holy shit. So it was so good. Bro, so how about this? What is it? Helene that just came through Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. So we have a house in Naples, Florida. It's it's a large house, 5-bedroom, but it's pretty big. And I immediately go, oh, Florida or like Tampa area, the whole just got decimated.
Yeah.
And immediately we go, what assets do we have? We have a house in South Carolina right now. We have a couple houses in Florida. I go, what houses do we have? I know they're all good. What can we do with this insurance? And if I was to ask you that question just blindly, I didn't even warn you what that was coming, but what was the first thing you do? You'd find someone probably I'm going to say you'll find someone probably in your community and who does medium terms and midterms and say, hey, this is what I have. Would that be something?
Yeah, I'm actually, as we're talking right now, I'm going to pull this up because the day before Helene hit, I had everybody submit a Google form on our free Facebook group. And we got 278 homes already that people had in those markets where the market was devastated. And we've already been able to place 27 families in properties, and this is just in North Carolina. So
Dope.
yeah, the aftermath of that is horrific. The thing right now with any of these kinds of, whenever FEMA's involved, there is a ton of money that's being poured into obviously getting those places back up to normal. But people that have properties in those markets right now, all these insurance companies are scouting ALE Solutions, Dan Housing, CRS. All these companies are now searching for people that actually have properties there so they can move these families into a home. And that's exactly what we did, man. We just jumped on it right away and we're able to connect with the operators in those markets that I don't even know from a free Facebook group and put them on a sheet. And we sent that information over to all these temporary housing companies and said, hey, this list is going to continue to grow. We want to help as many people as we can. And that's what we're doing right now. But there's definitely opportunities in that space as well.
So smart. And then, I mean, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the insurance companies and all that, because I do know there's some logistics involved in stonewalling and but at the end of the day, most likely the ones who have their things together, the ones who have probably a good outfit or a good premium, or I should say a good provider, they're probably the first to get on the list, I'm sure, right? Because they can get right into a claim, or the claim comes in. Yep. Go get it. I don't care. Just go.
Yeah,
Others probably have to delay.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with a lot of these these temporary housing companies is that they just can't find the suitable housing. And most people that own property and have it listed on Zillow and stuff like that, Justin, if I called you and said, "Hey, I have a claim that's $7,000 and your rent in that market is like $2,000," you're gonna think I'm full of crap. Like you're gonna be like, "This is not real."
Hey, can I take over your mortgage?
Yeah.
So I think I hear there.
Yeah, you could do that. You can actually sell leads, and that's the other thing too, is that people don't realize that you don't necessarily even need to own anything. You can wholesale a lead. And I think that's what's so cool about this space in the midterm game, is that there's all these different layers of being able to bring money in. In fact, right now we have several students, Justin, that are making over $50,000 a month, and all they're doing is just getting leads and sending them to people that have them and making 10-20% off the top of whatever those are. So there's so much opportunity, not just to make money, but you're also helping people. And I think, again, just like Paces talks about the servitude mindset and having that be first, that's exactly what you're doing. And it's icing on the cake when you're able to make money and serve a family in your community. And it's pretty cool, man.
Holy moly. I just wrote down wholesale a lead. I underlined it, quoted it, and then I circled it with a cloud. Guys, if you're not hearing that, this is why Jesse's here, is because, and what he means by this is it's not wholesaling a deal. We're not talking about a deed or it's the lead from maybe an insurance company or a provider or someone who actually needs the housing. You're connecting. It's a connecting, but there's a fee involved in there. So good. And you know what? I have to give Dylan Sevick, or I know it's pronounced maybe differently, but Dylan is a friend of ours in the New England market. He connected us together. He's your homie. And Dylan is doing that for us, and/or always offering, always leading with value, always being like, hey, whatever I can do to try to help, fulfill these assets that we have, these homes, these properties, these units. And that's how you make a fee while you're also doing your other business, guys.
I know, man. And it's crazy. All you're doing is just connecting two people. That's literally it. And you're continuing to keep the relationship with your relocation specialist or a corporate entity, a corporate company, and you're just, passing a lead over. So it's pretty cool, man. It's basically wholesaling. It's exactly what it is, except it's just a lead, and it's way faster than what you would typically see, from wholesalers now. It takes a long time to find these leads, and then you got to work them in different ways. It's just a lot faster. And these contracts are, $10,000 a month, 6 months, that's $60K. You make 10% of that. That's $6,000. It's pretty freaking awesome by literally just connecting to somebody else.
And so I actually I knew about it, but I didn't really know about this. So when people, and I do some coaching inside the Subto community as well. So when someone comes out to me or says something, and it has to be a unique situation, of course, they have to have maybe some of this knowledge from you and your community, or maybe the insurance companies, but you literally could jump into this as well as your wholesaler, but it's just a different avenue, and you're a specialist. While you can also be working on your other business. Guys, if you're not listening to this about how do I make money in real estate, how to get my foot in the door, Jesse just told you.
Yep. Yeah. I was watching a thing that Pace said he was going to be dropped off in the middle of Iowa with like $100 in his pocket. Like he wanted to do something like that. If I was Pace, this is exactly what I would do. I would literally start to look on Furnish Finder, find people that have properties, and just start market connecting with companies. Doesn't cost anything. And I guarantee you within the first 30 days, he'll probably make 50, 60, even $100,000 just by literally doing this.
Damn.
There's so many
Yeah.
ways to make money, man. People just don't see them all the time. And again, this is why we're here. We're here to talk about this so people have a different understanding of, other ways to make income this day.
And but that's the cool thing is that, and I'm going to get into it now, is that you ended up getting a subject to deal. I mean, we talked about it right before we hit record. I
Yeah.
knew about it, but didn't know all the logistics of it. So you're, actually let the audience know if they don't know who you are, which I'd be surprised, but give them a quick outlook on maybe like the type of asset class that you're always looking for now. And I know where you're at in California. And if you didn't say that earlier, guys, he's in California, and I know he's looking for good markets everywhere, but California is his backyard.
Yep.
And asset class, creative, and the love
Yep.
for creative now. And I think if there's opportunities there, you will jump on those opportunities, and you can monetize them differently than other people.
Totally. Yeah. I think
So,
I've been, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Justin.
no, bro, go ahead. I want you to catch the audience up on sort of the subject to deal that you did, where
Yeah.
where you're at now and what you're looking for.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm in the Central Valley in California, a city called Modesto, and it's known for murder. Thank you, Scott Peterson, for putting that on the freaking thing on the map. But yeah, I've been here. I was born and raised in Turlock, which is right next door. But anyway, yeah, I've ended up finding, Justin, a Subto deal in Lodi. It was actually a property that was sitting on the market for 60 days. Beautiful home, wasn't able to sell. It was sitting on the market for, like I said, 60 days. I called, just like you guys, a lot of folks that listen to this called any expiring listings 60 days in. And the family wanted to get out of that house. They were actually from Livermore. They decided to buy a house in Lodi, California, which is where this home is. And it was a $750,000 home that was for sale. And the thing about it, Justin, it was on the edge of I would say like a C plus neighborhood. It was the nicest home on that. So basically, that house would be considered an A market if it was like a block over. You guys listening to this probably know what I mean. A lot of these cities, especially in California, you go a couple blocks and you're like in a completely different market. We have that all over the
Goes
US.
from what, blue collar, working class blue collar, maybe a little bit lower, to then, right to the
literally right across the street, dude, is like Victorian homes that are owned by doctors, literally across the street. But so it was right on that brink there. So I think people were just like, this is kind of in a weird spot, and I just don't know if it's going to work. And anyway, they couldn't sell it. I called them, I talked to them, and the owners, and they basically just said, hey, we need to get rid of this. We're trying to figure out what we can. I ran numbers on it as a short-term rental and as a midterm rental. And I said, hey, you guys have a pretty good chance to make some cash on it. I found out their mortgage was $4,000 on the property. It's $3,800. And I was like, you guys can make about $5,000 to $6,000 a month on this, which would cash flow you guys a couple grand on literally just one door, which can help you pay for your next property. So we ended up doing that. The property actually did well. The woman that owned the property at the time, she had a design business in Livermore, and she put $40,000 into this home of her own money to get it rented. And after 3 months, she's like, we just need to sell this. We want to buy another property. We really feel like now's the time. And I just said, hey, I approached her about Subto, and I was like, hey, this is something I'd really love to do. If you guys are open to it, I'll take it over. They wanted me to put $100,000 down. That was for them to go buy another house. And I said, I can't do that, but I know that you just spent $40,000 to furnish the home. I'd give you 20,000. So essentially I'm just buying all the furniture back, 40K, and then buying it for 60. I'd put 60,000 down. They're like, we agree with that. 0% interest. So I'm not paying them any interest at all. They just wanted to take over the payments. They needed 60,000 to be able to put down another house to buy it. So, yeah, man, I ended up picking that house up. We have it booked out right now for over $9,000. It's an insurance claim for 6 months. And it's been booked since I bought the place. And yeah, I'm making over $4,000 on it. And I think this is why, if you're able to pick up these Subto properties and you're able to get a different play into them, either short-term or midterm. And if you start to think about this like a business, Justin, because I think a lot of times people pick up real estate, it's pretty easy to hand off to somebody else. You can just get a property manager and hand the keys to them and say, do your thing. And, I'll pick up some checks, every month. But what I do is I really start to create a business out of what I'm doing. And that was what I believe separates these traditional folks that are getting in this space. This is just an exit strategy for them, but they're not actually creating a business around that exit strategy. And I think when you start to do that, there becomes different layers of the business where you actually sell that asset like that. It's a business that has leads that are coming into it all the time that will book your properties or book other people's properties. And people don't realize like you're actually creating a business on top of your real estate. And to be honest with you, Justin, real estate's been the same for the last 100-something years, however long real estate's been around, right? It's been the same thing. And I think we're in an age now where interest rates are higher. People had to pivot. They had to get creative, obviously, with the creative finance and all that stuff. And that creative also trickled down into thinking like a business, picking up midterm rentals, creating a business out of that. You're seeing short-term rental operators create experiences out of properties that they're picking up. So those people that traditionally were able to list on these platforms are now thinking about this like an actual business. And once you do that, you're clearly years ahead of other people in the space that are just listing to make additional cash.
Evolution. And it's so good because thank you for that. So guys, more freaking wisdom. And it's the ecosystem of a property too. And I love that because I think maybe, I don't know if it correlates with you. I gave you a little early before we hit record. We were talking about the micro multifamily. Pace and I, and we're coming out with, it's small multifamily, but it's micro multifamily.
Yeah.
And it's a business. And I think you mentioned something about a business, and it's so true because it has to align to, in my mind, how I think of it is, as a short-term rental operator too, I was running my multifamilies just like it was an experience without me even owning an STR before. Because
Yeah.
when you walked in the door, I said, I wanted you to have like big branding or cool wallpaper, and it has to look nice. And I
There's a
always
feel
thought
to it,
about
Justin, right?
boutique. What's that?
It has a feel to it when you walk in. It doesn't just feel like a cold,
Yeah.
empty place.
Stinky, empty, freaking shoes are everywhere, dirt everywhere, leaves are piling up in the corner, cobwebs. I've been through all of those houses. I want to buy them all. And so it's the experience when you walk in without even knowing it, but it's a business and it's your identity, it's your brand. It doesn't mean that, Justin Tuminowski is on the freaking, on the wall. It's no, I'm going to put the place where you live and a cool sign and brand it. Right.
Mhm.
And when you go up the stairs, it's beautiful. It looks like a boutique hotel. And that's how these, without even having it have that experience, I just wanted that look, but it's a business when it comes down to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, and then guys, if you're thinking deeper, it's evolution. It's evolution. And I think it goes into the story where I just had a notary here just in the office before Jesse and I came on, and we closed on a subject to deal in New England. She's an agent and a notary. And Donna, if you're listening, because I told you about Jesse, I told you about Pace. So shout out to Donna, the notary. And we talked about creative finance, and she had no idea. She's going for a brokerage license, so she can have a brokerage. And her mind was blown. She's in it. She's like, how do I do it? I'm actually listing properties for Airbnb folks that can't even get them on the market. So like lowest denominator, Jesse, is like,
Yeah.
so they're putting it on the MLS right now because they're probably struggling.
Yep.
And it's an STR.
Yeah.
And they don't have your freaking systems. They don't have your wisdom. They don't have your knowledge. They don't have your community. They don't have the creative finance stuff too. And they don't have a community, period, probably. So they're going at it alone. They're not thinking like a business. Bro, I can go on and on, but Donna's now going to be able to change her mind. She's a notary. We closed the deal. She now gets exposure to you. She's going to change her methods, her ways. And now like the gift keeps going. So good.
Dude, and that's the crazy thing, man, is like we live in such a great age where we can listen to a podcast just like this and get a new idea, and you start to think in a different way now. And now you're looking at real estate in I just talked about invest.gov. You guys can go check that out. There's different ways to build businesses, and they're all over the place. And again, you're using real estate as the vehicle to get where you're going to go. And there's a business, and then you have the tangible asset, which is the real estate, right? So those two things, when you marry them both and you put intention behind them, Justin, like with the micro, multi that you guys are going to do,
Yep.
super smart, man. I think that again, this is like the new wave of, I believe, what investors are going to be doing in the future. When I say future, like, I mean, like next year, I mean, like
Raise
they're
the
doing
bar.
it now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a different way of operating, because what's worked in the past isn't necessarily going to work in the future. And I think the smartest investors are making pivots and moves all the time. And you don't necessarily see them until they start to bring these things out to the public. And I think this right now is the golden age for people that are thinking intuitively to be able to build systems and operations that people aren't necessarily talking about. So man, I'm kudos to you for thinking ahead and making moves like that. I think it's smart.
Same to you. And I mean, guys, right now is the worst time right now to be a landlord, I think, as far as in this current environment where it's that typical slumlord talk and the landlord this, landlord that. And if you're not a prime, you're a slumlord. If you're not putting it all out there, but also you got to be able to the expenses too, and the rental rates, you need to keep that in check. So right now we're under the microscope. You should be delivering a good product if you're going to ask for a good price, and you should be serving. We're in the people business. I say that all the time. We're in the people business. So, well, no, Jesse, thank you. So you did it was 60 days expired. Back to the deal.
Yeah.
It's 60 days expired, or was it on market
It
already
was on
still?
the market for 60 days. So it was getting ready to
So,
expire in the next 30. Yeah, they had a 3-month contract, the agent.
all right. So 60 days, $60,000 down. What did the
40K in
agent get if
furniture.
you don't 40K in furniture? What did the agent make out on that with
Nope.
anything?
Nothing, because it
Nope.
expired. She actually took it off the market. We put it on as a short-term rental. So we actually,
Okay.
I
Oh, that's right.
this is for everybody listening to right now. Like, if you guys aren't able to make a deal with somebody on a sub-2 basis where they have a property that's sitting for a while, learn how to run the numbers on the short and midterm rental and offer that as a service if you know or you're able to do that. Now you're able to get this property before anybody else is going to get it, and maybe you have access to this family and or whoever's selling it in a year from now or 3 months or whatever they decide. But that's what happened to me, man. Is I will go find properties that are on the market that are hanging out, that are beautiful, that I know are going to do well because I run the numbers and I know them. So I'll go out and say, hey, you guys can make X amount of money, and this place is hanging out. You probably want to cover the mortgage. I can help you do that. And then we'll pick it up, and then eventually it'll transition to either I can sub to it, or I can make cash off it as a insurance relocation claim or temporary housing, or I'm property managing it. So there's different verticals that I'm now able to make cash on from that one
I was going to say
property.
property management, and that's a good, because then even repairs you can probably mark up. Property management, the whole thing is
Yeah.
they're still making money. Again, business.
Totally.
Wow. All right. And I was going to say, because I thought you were closing an escape hatch, and I call it, like, if we're closing doors on the sales process. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not a real big sales guy, but I thought that was what you were doing. Like, why don't you just rent it? Why don't you just put it on a short term, or why don't you go to midterm?
Yeah.
I thought that's
Yeah.
what you were doing, and you did it, but they actually said, yes, you were going with it as a business model as well. So again,
Yeah.
kudos to you for that. But most investors, I'll tell you, we're looking to give all the information because we know they're going to say no,
Yeah.
just straight up,
Yeah. Well, what's the other avenue that they have? They don't want to sub to it yet. They don't want the property. They can't sell it. They're not living there anymore. What's the other alternative? Let it sit and they're going to pay the mortgage, or they're eventually going to lose it, right? That's where you can come in as a sub two. But why not help them make some cash, and you're making cash along the way? Maybe that turns one day where they do want to sell it. You're able to take it sub two. You built enough trust over time. You're making cash off it regardless. So I don't know, man. I just think it's been a little strategy that I've been using now for years to pick it up. And sometimes they end up selling the home. And the other thing about this too is that if a property can't sell and you turn it into a short or midterm rental, and now it has a book of business that it shows on paper that it's being rented out X amount of time, now you might have an investor instead of a family that comes in to buy it. So if I'm able to create a rent roll for this family, that's the other pitch that I do, is say, hey, you guys can't sell this now. It's because you don't know the right people. Let's get this listed as a shorter midterm rental. Let's get a rent roll for it for the next 3 to 6 months. Then we put it back on the market. Maybe my friend's an agent, maybe somebody I know. And all of a sudden now we're able to sell an asset that has a rent roll where an investor is actually looking at it now, not just a family. So totally different mindset. It's a longer game. And that's how I always play things, man, is a long game.
And that's like the multifamily game on a single family freaking house.
Yeah.
What's your rent roll? Well, here's my NOI. Here's the numbers. Here's my gross profit, or here's the gross revenue. Here's my net profits. Here's what it costs to operate it as this. You think you could do better? Maybe you can trim these margins. Great. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
You're saving 20% off the top with just, us managing it. You take it over and systems are there already. You just got to market it. And that's it, man. Investors, again, you got to find the right people, right? It's not a problem selling the house. You just don't have the right people. And once you get those right people that are now interested in this property, now it's a totally different game.
So do you have a team now that are you taking on more of these? Like, so let's say I have a bunk. Well, I think it's a bunk deal in Modesto, or anywhere in California, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm underwater right now, or I'm struggling. What does that look like if I was just a Joe Schmo out there?
Yeah. So you have a property, it's not able to sell, and then you're coming to me for it. Is that what you're saying?
Or maybe I even have a sub-2 deal or a wholesale deal, or I'm thinking I'm going to take this on, but I have no business taking this on right now. And I just did the thing. I went out and bought a bunch of Amazon furniture. It's breaking. People are trashing my stuff. I can't get any bookings. I'm losing, I'm losing 80% of my revenue every month. What would I do?
Yeah, I would definitely start to. This is where people aren't looking like a business. They're just trying to make money fast. If you're trying to make money quick, the likelihood of you being around the next 2 or 3 years or 3 years is like very small. So you have to start looking at like a business. And I think that would be my first thing to do. If you bought stuff off Amazon, it better not be like a couch or a bed, right? You need to like make sure you invest in the quality stuff for midterm rentals. You don't need to have wallpaper everywhere. It doesn't need to look all crazy like a like, an Airbnb that's, like a pink pickle. Rob has a property. It's called the Pink Pickle. They got flamingos that are pink everywhere and all. You don't need to have that. You just need to have a house that feels like an actual home, and you have to start marketing it to companies that are in your backyard. And I'll give you this quick example, Justin. This is how I was able to make some cash. Have you heard of extended stay hotels,
I
Justin?
have, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I will creep out and hang with me for a minute. I will drive by extended stay hotels at 7 p.m. at night. And everybody listening to this right now, I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. There's work trucks that are out there, and those work trucks are people from other different markets that are coming into the city that you live in to do work. Take pictures of those trucks, and just like you guys wholesale deals, you call these companies the next day and you say, hey, my name's Justin. I just saw a work truck from Jesse Vasquez, ABC Plumbing Company. I saw plates from Arizona. I'm in California. Do you currently have folks that are working and staying on assignment in this market? And they can be like, who the hell are you? What are you doing here? These folks know. You guys know. You have people that they make calls on a regular basis. You just talk to them. How am I able to save you money? So I'll give you an example. I did this exact same thing. There was a Dave & Buster's that was being built in my backyard. They had trucks from Louisiana. I took pictures of it, called them the next day. They ended up telling me on the phone, Justin, that they had 5 engineers that were staying in a Holiday Inn Express down the road. They're paying $200 a night for each one of these guys to have their own place. It's actually $150, but after taxes and TOT and all that stuff, it came out to about $200 a night. So this company is literally spending $1,000 a day times 30, which is $30,000 a month to have 5 dudes that were on assignment for 3 months. So I told her, I was like, hey, Misty, I actually have a house that is 0.3 miles away from the job site. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3.5 baths. So the two guys aren't going to get bathrooms. Whoever you don't like the most, like put them in a room. It doesn't have a bathroom. And I can rent this place to you guys for $10,000. So if you're wanting to save money, like I'm here to help you do that. This is exactly what I do. I save them $20,000 every month for 3 months. That's $60,000 that we save them. My mortgage on that place, Justin, is $2,500. So I'm cash flowing $7,000 from one freaking door. And all I did was drove by. I saw an opportunity. I called the company. I said, what are you guys doing? How much are you paying right now? And again, servitude mindset. How can I help solve problems that people might not necessarily know they even have? I have a place down the road. Guys can cook. They got a pool in the backyard. They can hang out. They have their own spot. We have cleaners that come in once a week. Dude, that's it. That's how you do it right there.
Yeah. You're not sitting in a freaking hotel room with a TV and a mini fridge and a coffee maker in a bathroom, and you're confined in there. You can go outside. You can go sit on a patio chair. You can go on the Saturday and Sunday and with the boys out back. Maybe you're off. You get to go barbecue, have a beer, do whatever, live your life. And that's what we've been doing with our Naples house in Florida. Is just that. And we've had a lot of these outfits that come through, and they're building, Fort Myers, they might be building a rec center. And so they come 2-3 months and they keep coming back and vice versa. But that's the experience they want. They have a bedroom, and then they get to kind of free come as go as they please. They can use that asset just like I would. There's a gym there. There's a pool, the whole thing.
Exactly. And not only that, but you're right, man. Like, who wants to stay in a 100 square foot room at a Holiday Inn Express on the 10th, 7th floor, 6th floor, whatever it is? Like, it's way more convenient. Not only that, but again, you're saving these companies money, and that's the goal. Is like, how do I save company money? Like that would be what I would be leading with. My job here is to help you and your company save money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the company's first, and then user experience or the employees' experience would probably be second. But 100. But if they have a riot, if they're not happy, you do need to make them happy. And I do know, and bro, they're not going back to the Holiday Inn. We know that.
No.
Once they get a taste of your jam and they keep coming back to town, if they have to come back on other visits, you're getting the call 100%. That is, guys, are we not getting bombs dropped on this podcast or what? And if you're not listening, and if you have assets, guys, and Jesse, what I really wanted to get at is, are you taking on opportunities like the arbitrage model almost? Or I'm sure you have people in your network, in your community. I'm saying, like, if I'm struggling too to make that, and I'm like, hey dude, just freaking take my Subto deal. Is there anybody in your community that actually can resolve that problem?
Definitely. Yeah. We definitely have a lot of people in our community that will definitely take that on. I arbitrage. I have a couple properties that I arbitrage. I don't just take any now. I think I have to be very selective. In fact, a lot of the people that you've seen really get into arbitrage, like in 2020, they're not even around in the game anymore. So again, you have to think long-term. Am I creating a business that's attached to this? I think arbitrage is a great way to build something quick. And I do a thing, I call it reverse arbitrage, where basically, Justin, you'll have a property, an insurance company will come to me and say, hey, we want to rent your house, and say the place is $7,000. Your mortgage is say 2,500. I'll go to you and be like, hey, I want to rent your house from you for whatever price you're asking for the next 6 months, because I'm going to have a company come in. This is what I do. I take over the lease. So now I'm taking your property over, Justin, for 6 months. I'm paying $3,000 to you, and then I'm selling that lease to that company for 7,000. So now I'm making $4,000 off of the place. So I'm reverse arbitraging the actual property. So we're making a deal with the company. They're going to be paying us $7,000. I'm making a deal with you where I'm going to be paying you $3,000. I'm taking over the lease. I'm going to take care of any problems that go on in the house. I'm handling all that stuff. And then I'm making the $4,000 a month based off of the deal that I already made with the client. So it's like, dude, there's so much. Again, this is what I mean. Like, there's so many ways to make money in this business. Like, it's just, you have to know the ways to do it.
You're a cash flow engineer or architect, engineer. One of those, like you're a cash flow engineer. You literally can go, all right, I got the debt here. And not every strategy will work, or not every insurance company or contractor or vendor is going to be in town. Right. We understand that. And that's why has to have some alignment with some exit. Yep. But bro, that is really great. And I know people listening are going to get some value. I know even my team right now, and Katie, my wife is listening. She's a fan of yours. Same thing. Like, those are all the strategies. Like, these are the things that people need to hear. Yeah. And bro, are we talking about this on your podcast, the JV pod? Is this something that comes up, or what are you trying to accomplish in that podcast? Yeah, man. I love talking about the struggles that entrepreneurs have and how they get from, 0 to 100, or get stuck in those points where, like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I don't know if my payroll's due tomorrow. I don't have the money to do that, and what they actually do to get through that. So that's what I talk about a lot in the podcast. I also talk about, these kinds of deals and, different ways of making cash. And again, you're right, man. I never really thought of myself as a cash flow architect. I like that. I also think that cash is not hard to make if you understand the ways to pick it up. And I think once you learn it and you understand that model, like, it's hard to unlearn, dude. Like, it's hard to unteach yourself how to do that. So I just think there's an abundance of money everywhere. And I really think it's, I'm pretty sure Pace talks about this too. Like, there's not a lack of money, right? There's money everywhere. You just have to figure out the ways how to do that. And again, being on podcasts like this, we're so lucky to be alive, to be able to pick stuff like this up, man, and move on it. Like, what a blessing. Right. And you're being resourceful is what it is. If you are not getting the opportunities, you're stuck, you're being an asshole, you're not being resourceful. That's what it is. And you don't know how to make money, you're not being resourceful. Are you actually getting out of your own way? Are you asking the right questions? Or are you actually taking the action to go do the thing? Are you going into your free content? Are you going into Pace's free content, or any one of ours on YouTube or Instagram? Are you consuming, but then that's where it stays? Are you even paying attention? Yeah, I agree, man. And then you got to implement it. The whole nine comes with it. So yeah, great podcast, guys. The JV pod. That's Jesse's. Please. I was on there recently. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a great time. And I love, Cody Sanchez was like one of your first. Yeah. I know you did something with her, and I think she spoke at one of your midterm event, right? It was San Diego, I think. Yeah, we had a big midterm rental summit in San Diego for the last couple of years, and we're doing another one next year. In fact, Pace is going to be there. I just got the green light from him that he's going to go. It's going to be in April, the end of April, in San Diego. But yeah, it's all about midterm rentals business. We're going to have some of the top experts in the space talking about that. Plus Pace, Dan Martell will be there. He's going to be keynoting it, which I'm pretty excited. So Pace and Dan will be keynoting. I'm excited about it, man. It's really cool place for people. I'm sure Dylan will be flying out. I'm sure I'll definitely be there. I will get my ticket for sure. Awesome, man. You better be there, Justin. I'm going to be there 100%. And I'll probably bring an entourage too. San Diego's dope as well. I love San Diego. My favorite city, man. Where is it? I mean, I know it's probably not in PB or La Jolla. Where is it? Yeah, it's right it's right downtown. It's going to be at the, God dang it, I forget the hotel. It's a hotel right on the bay there in San Diego. Mission Bay Resort. There it is. Yep. So it's in Mission Bay. Yeah. I love Mission Beach, man. It's my favorite little strip in San Diego. So it's right there on the bay of Mission Beach. Beautiful place. Isn't the Ferris wheels up there too, right? Isn't there a big little Ferris wheel, I think, and all that? There's a little, there's a Ferris wheel. There's like a little carnival kind of thing that's going there all the time. Yeah. It's a boardwalk kind of thing. It's one of the coolest beach towns in California. I'll tell you guys that. It is. It was like one of the best weather in the country too. So I will, if I get real estate and I get that, I'm there. Bro, let's go. I want to fly across right now to the East Coast, and I want to ask you about a little, not too much, but I do want to pick your brain about some of the laws right there. I know a lot of us who might not be plugged in. You're super smart. You're in the statistics. You're in the know, which you should be. You're the expert in this field. So when you get to the New Yorks and these scary big bad places, great, we don't have to invest there, and maybe that's the case. But I know Airbnb was reaching out, and I think I was at like September. I heard asking and pleading, like, can you loosen up these regulations?
Yeah.
Can you catch us up to speed? Maybe you don't have any of this information. That's fine.
I do.
But what do we got? Like, what's the latest talk?
Yeah. So right now across the U.S., there are so many cities. So San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, a lot of the big cities in the U.S., Austin, Texas, even certain places in the city or in the state are not allowing short-term rental operators to short-term rent anymore. They're saying that it's taking away from traditional housing for people that are obviously wanting to long-term rent. So all these cities and municipalities, they don't even have to be big. In fact, Modesto banned short-term rentals, Justin, back in 2023. So what you're seeing right now is a lot of these operators. So actually in New York, you can rent for 30 days at a time. But here's the problem. Dallas just had this happen. Houston, Texas is going through this right now. You have thousands of people that operate short-term rentals. They've been doing it for years. And all of a sudden the city says, hey, Justin, you can't short-term rent anymore. So the next logical thing for people to do is list as a medium midterm rental, right? Which is 30 days or more, because they will allow you to do that because that falls under a long-term rental category. Somebody staying for 30 days, they're considered longer-term tenants. Short-term is less than 28 days. I don't know why they have the 28-day number. But anyway, these folks are all just listing their properties on Furnish Finder, Airbnb, and VRBO and waiting to get booked. And this is exactly why, if you think like a business, you're proactive, just like all the Subto, you guys are. You're going out looking for problems to solve. That's exactly what the midterm space is. Now you're in a market that is competitive, like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York. And if you're being proactive going after these companies, you're going to beat out every single person because all they're doing is listing on platforms, sitting on their hands and waiting for somebody to book their place. That's not how you build a business. That's how you become an employee of Brian Chesky, and you're not building your own house on your own land. Like, that's exactly what you're doing. So intuitive investors like myself and like a lot of you guys listening to this right now see that, and they're going against that grain, and they're saying, how do I make things happen regardless of whatever the cities are doing? I am now taking my own life, I'm going to say, in my own hands and creating my own way rather than being told exactly what to do based off the government and municipalities. I get to choose now. I'm still going with them, following their rules, which is 30 days, but now I'm creating a business that's now going to give me a flow. So like anybody now listening to this in New York that has property, if you guys would just start to go watch my YouTube stuff, there's a ton of free stuff on there. Pick one concept of that and just start to implement the things that I talk about on there. I promise you're going to have income that comes through, especially if you're going out and you're looking for leads. In New York, Los Angeles, these big cities, Justin, they have so much opportunity, man. And in fact, I have a student who's a student of you guys too, over at the Subto. Her name's Christine. I thought Vegas was going to be like the worst place to be because it's the most competitive short-term market. It was, right? There's just, they banned short-term rentals altogether. She's one of the best students that I have. She's got contracts with Amazon, World Series of Poker. She's got like all these contracts. Guess what? Vegas is an epicenter for people to come in. There's jobs that are like formulating all the time there. There's construction companies there on a regular basis. Housing needs need to be there. Like, people need housing there regularly. She's freaking doing it, dude. One of the most saturated cities, Las Vegas. She's making things happen way further along than everybody else that will ever go in that space because she has a different idea and concept of how to actually build a business. And that's what's going to separate people from each other in the space. As more of those short-term rental regulations hit, more people will pivot, but they'll just sit on their hands, list on these platforms, and wait for people to book.
Yeah, and then lose cash flow, and they're not taking control, and they're not running it like a business, like you said.
Yep. And then they'll sell it or they'll Subto it, and then that's just the way it goes. But
and that's good. And let them, if they can, and if a creative investor can actually solve the problem for someone else, like we solve the problem and we get to pass the buck, and hey, maybe you're not a good fit and you don't want to deal with it, and you don't want to go with that strategy, you don't want to deal with medium term or midterm. Good, cool. Like, you should sell that deal. You should either wrap it or sell it to another seller, finance it to one of us, someone else who will take that freaking risk on and monetize it. But exactly. 100%. Well, thank you for that, because there is a lot of stuff around the country that is, the regulations hit. And I was looking at the short-term numbers, and I don't know how they're still predicting more volume, I think, as the years go on. Houses being on, we'll just call it like AirDNA, Airbnb, the short-term models. I think their still trajectory is they're saying that they're going to continue on for at least the next 2 years with surplus, like plus growth.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I was looking at some numbers, but I also saw some things, occupancy, days, all those things are going down.
Yeah. Well, crazy thing too is, Justin, Airbnb, if you guys, Airbnb is on the IPO now, which means they're on the stock market. You can actually look at their earnings calls every quarter when they come out. 21% of their income over the last 3 years has come from 30 days or more. So you're talking about 21% is coming from 30-day or plus days. So this market is going to continue to grow. Again, I there's just the travel sector. It's growing. We're not even talking about nurses right now. We're talking about just people lodging in different ways, staying in different ways. Corporate rentals have always been around. They've always been a thing. But now, us little operators that have 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 homes can now create our own little businesses, when back in the day, these corporate rental agencies, they're the ones handling everything. And now, like us, we can do that. Like, we're competing against them. I think we actually have an advantage because institutions and things, and that's the other thing too, I want to make sure I bring up. Blackstone, they raised, I don't know if you remember this last year, but they raised, like, I don't remember, it was like $4 billion or something like that. And guess what they're going to be investing in? Extended stay models, because they know that 30-day stays are like continuing to grow. So they're putting their money into the midterm rental space in hotels that are now advertising for 30-day stays. There aren't extended stays, there are different types of models.
Yeah, they're reinventing the hotel model, or the lower income economy. I think it's economy model. They're reinventing it.
Yeah, not only that, but they're being very specific about the sectors that they're putting that money into. So as they see the rise of midterm rentals from COVID, they see that there's a lot of opportunity there. Blackstone knows already that, hey, we have the ability to take advantage of this group, and we have, hundreds of thousands of homes all across the US and apartment buildings. Let's turn this into 30-day plus models so that people can now stay and lodge different than what they were used to before, because we know it's working now and we see the trajectory is growing. So when you start to see institutional capital make moves like that, financial institutions make moves like that, they do that years before the general public even finds out. So we know that now. Go back, go look it up, you guys. If you guys are listening to this, go type in Blackstone raising $3 billion in 2023, or I think at the beginning of this year, 2024, and it'll show you where they're allocating those funds, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and this made me think of something. Pace texted me the other night. I was out to dinner with another, like, it's a company that does leads. So we're out to dinner. I put my phone away, like literally silent, probably left it in the car. Didn't look at it for a while. I get home and I look at it and I see it says, Pace sent me a YouTube video, and it says, and I think that's all he did. There was no remarks, but I know what he was saying. And it was Massachusetts, and it was extended stays. And they were flipping the signs over, the Motel 6. They were, so what they're showing is that, and this is more of the co-living and the government. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
And they're flipping the signs. So a company, and they just did the statistics on it, they bought it for $1 million. They bought a strip, like a 12 unit motel strip, extended stay, whatever we're going to call it, Motel 6. They flipped the sign immediately. The guy, bought it for $1 million. They put a new roof on it, and they kicked everybody out. So it was a lower income, motel. You probably had some prostitution, some drugs, some things like that. But they kicked everybody out, and they put in migrants, migrant workers, not workers, just, and they with
subsidized
a food voucher. So yeah. And they went around and they actually followed, and they shut the hotels down, but they're taking that model. And the gentleman, they said he makes $60,000 a month from the government, and he bought it for $1 million. I'm like, damn, that could be a good return on investment for that baby.
Yeah, government contracts are a total other thing, man. They're a lot more easier than people think. You just have to, jump into those. But I mean, that's the other thing that I was telling you about, that woman, Christine, that's also in the Subto community. She's doing those as well. She just got a massive contract, exact same thing in Vegas. There's just, again, like, these are more opportunities for people to, other avenues, other exit strategies that you can create a book of business off of. And it's so cool, man. I mean, $60K that's pretty awesome, man.
For $1 million, even if you borrowed the $1 million, that's give someone a good interest rate, and then run it and operate it. Like, holy moly.
Yeah.
But dude,
$1 million loan is like $7,000-$8,000 a month. So, I mean, you just do the math on that. You know what I mean?
Insane. And those people are not leaving because there's food cards and there's cell phones, the whole thing. You get the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah,
so
and these are years contracts, Justin. They're not just like a 3-month thing like what we do. These are like 3, 5, 7, 10-year contracts, which is wild.
Yeah, like that is it's going to take something pivotal to change that model of that asset. It's
Yeah.
enough to burn down.
Definitely.
Bro, well, I want to make sure that our community that's probably listening to, I hope yours is. And then guys, we need to collaborate more. Community needs to get together. We need to do more together. We should be getting together with Jesse's community and our community, and it should be some more synergy because there's deal flow, there's operators, there's cash flow engineering. We have opportunities too. These guys need the opportunities. If you're wholesaling, if you're a deal finder, dispo, you just need to know how to look at these deals, and you should connect with someone in your market that's doing the medium term, midterm stuff.
Yeah.
Jesse, but what are you looking? I know we already touched a little bit on what you're looking for, but if we have deals, like give me a couple markets that you're looking for, and I want people to actually bird dog for you if we can.
I love that, man. I'll take the bird dogs. Anything in the Central Valley, California. So Modesto, Turlock, Merced, Fresno, Stockton. That's a market that I believe right now, if we're able to pick stuff up there, it's going to grow. People stay away from it. I have property there. It's doing extremely well. Lodi, all those markets, even Sacramento. So anything up that 99 from Fresno to Sacramento, I'm all in there because I know this is a great space to be in. So yeah, if anybody has anything out there, single family, any multifamily, I would love to do. Even if there's more than 10 units, I would love to do that as well. But single family has been my bread and butter, man. It's been what's worked for me. But now I'm really pivoting into more multifamilies, 5+ properties, which are harder to find sometimes. But that right there, exactly what you're talking about with the micro stuff, that's the way to build, man. Where you're able to have, you pick up a 5-unit building, you have 2 of those that are long-term rentals. The other 3 are rented out as a midterm, and you're able to flip the net operating income. There's just so much opportunity in that if you do it the right way, and you have a business mindset attached to those properties and those doors.
And I thought of it too, and thank you for that. I thought of that too, and not saying I invented anything, but what we're doing to diversify is because I go the commercial sector in the commercial space, they always have that anchor, or they did have that anchor, that grocery store, that Walmart, that once Kmart. I can list all like the badass like 1990s, 80s freaking brands that are no longer, but they were anchors.
Yeah.
J.C. Penney. Yep. I think they still see some of those.
I still see some of those, yeah.
Yeah. But they're relics. And for you guys, it's an anchor. So you diversify. You don't have to just do one strategy, or you can again connect with someone who can manage that or facilitate that for you, and you have the asset, and good. Maybe your hands off. Let someone else do it. Make some money. Bro, you've said it all. If there's anything else you want to get out, let's do it. I know that therealjessevasquez.com is your website.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, people can connect with me on Instagram too at The Real Jesse Vasquez, or just go check out my YouTube stuff. Just type in the search bar Jesse Vasquez, and I should pop up. There's a ton of just free game on there that goes out weekly. I just want people to learn, man. There's other ways to make money in the space. I do believe there's an abundance of money all over the place. For anybody that feels stuck, you got to pick an avenue, absorb content, and then take action, right? That's what you got to do. So yeah, man, I appreciate you for allowing me to come on here and tell Pace I said what's up, and thanks for having me on too. I know we're doing things a little bit different here. I appreciate it, man.
No, you deserve it. I want us to all align together. I want your community, we're going to drag you even further, even closer into the fire, in the campfire, because we love good people. And bro, and guys, he has the JV pod. Listen to that, plug in, subscribe, follow him on Instagram. The other thing is, Jesse, like we talked a little bit about music earlier. Give me favorite song that right now, favorite song
right now. Let me take a look. Yeah, I'm a big music nerd, you guys. So I really, really love music. Oh man, what's my favorite song right now? Dang it, dude, you got me on the spot.
How about Commander? Was that the band?
Let's do that. I love that song. That's so good. Yeah, that's a good one. You guys are gonna love this. I'm a big music nerd. So check this song out. I don't know if you're gonna play it now or you're gonna play it afterwards, but yeah, it's a good song, man. I love that. So
song. It's the band is it Commander is the band, and then what's the song?
The song is called, dang it, Justin,
I'm putting him on the spot, guys. So just chill.
It's called No More Chances. And that you guys have no more chances if you're sitting on your hands, not making moves after listening.
Yes.
Get out there and do something.
Yes. All right. You parlayed that real well. Jesse, thanks, bro. Appreciate you so much. Pace and our community appreciate you so much. Dylan, Tanisha, they've nothing but love for you. And guys, you've heard it. Get Creative Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Justin Tuminowski. Realestatejustin.com is where you can find me, on the socials as well. Guys, give Jesse some love, and we'll talk to you next time.